on my knees, shaking from my thigh. Post me a pic, finna make me a profit. When the liquor hit, then the get toxic.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first ever Madwoman Podcast. This is crazy.
Woo woo.
Woo woo. Today, I have Kira here with me. She is my first guest, or maybe co-host. We don't really know what we're doing, to be honest, but we're just here to chat all things Madhouse, sexuality, dance, movement, sensuality, all of the beautiful, wonderful things. And we're just going to get into it. No idea where this conversation is going to go for today, but right now, having Kira in front of me, I feel like I really want to just talk about just starting with dance, your dance journey, our dance journeys together, maybe how we've both kind of collided our lives together at Madhouse. And yeah, just like what a wonderful time and journey it's been to get here, right?
Is it like 2.5 years now?
Yes,
That's
insane.
So crazy.
The fact that, guys, so for people that don't know, that are just now tuning in and listening to us, or maybe don't know us from the studio or anything, Kira and I met probably 3 years ago now in 2020, working at the same restaurant. She was a host, I was a server at True Food Kitchen in San Diego. Bartender and server.
But I met you when
and
you were
like
bartending.
a little manager.
Okay, and your little button up and your little cute green mask
and my buzzed
and your
head.
bald head.
Yeah, she was different back then.
And I was like, oh my god, that girl's so cute. I want to be her friend.
I literally remember the first words Kira said to me are, "You're so cute." And you still say that to me to this day.
I do.
Which is so funny because I'm like so much older than you, and like I don't know why I'm cute to you, but I take it as the biggest compliment because you're the cutest to me too.
Amazing.
It's so funny because I feel like you're like my big sister and little sister in one. Like you have so much wisdom on so many topics, which is another reason why I'm really excited to just like have you on the podcast too.
I love you so much.
No, I literally love you. But like at the same time, I feel like I also can offer you so much wisdom in so many topics.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like I feel like I'm your big sister sometimes, and then I also
100%.
feel like you're my big sister sometimes. So I'm like, Kira, I need help.
There's so many times that I'm like, I need to go talk to Liv.
Yeah,
I need her
literally,
advice.
exactly. Well, I'm glad we can be that for each other. But yeah, we were both, well, you're still at True Food and doing dance and not the side eyes. Cut that out.
True Food can't see that. I just want to dance.
We've come, yeah, we both just want to dance. We've come a long, long way, but it's all part of the journey, all meant to be. And yeah, super excited that like it all happens for a reason, I feel like.
It really does.
Because that's literally the only reason that we met and are in this space now together is because
True Food.
I decided to work at True Food. You decided to work at True
And
Food.
didn't you transfer down
Yeah,
there?
I was in the LA one, and then I was transferred to San Diego.
I think we probably met. I got that job in like August 2020, and I was walking the mall, and I just called a random restaurant, and I was like, "You guys hiring?" And they said yes, and I was like, "Great!" I knew nothing about True Food, and they hired me on the spot, and I started working there, and then I met you like a week later.
I just think it's so beautiful, like the amount of things that have to go right to get all the people that are together now in Madhouse together. Like, I mean, you could say it about anything in life. The amount of things that have to go right to meet your significant other, to whatever, to be born. Like, the amount of magic and things that have to go right to get us where you are right now. I think that's the beauty in like appreciating the present moment and like accepting that everything pans out the way it's meant to.
That also makes me think of Rachel. Rachel is another instructor at Madhouse. Where am I supposed to look? Like, am I looking at that one?
I don't know, anywhere.
Great. Okay, well, if you don't know, Rachel's another instructor at Madhouse who's been working here for, I don't know how long now, a year, I think. And Rachel and I met, I'm 23, Rachel's also 23, I think. We met when we were 16 or 17 at a dance camp in New York City, one random summer, and we were friends then. We've always followed each other on Instagram. And then she had a job interview down in San Diego. I'm from Pennsylvania. I'm not from here. Rachel was not from San Diego either, and she had a job interview, and she reached out to me, and then we started DMing, and I was like, oh my god, come take my class. She took my class, and then she moved here, and she got the job. And now we're set. We like think we're soul sisters. So
You are.
I love it.
Okay, but you're also soul sisters with me.
Okay,
I get
of course.
jealous every time.
You're the first one.
I'm
You're
just
the
kidding.
first one.
You also have an actual sister, and that makes me feel left out because I don't have an actual
Multiple
sister. I know. You have multiple sisters, but you're my one and only.
You have brothers. Well,
No,
I love that I can do that for you.
Yeah, thanks. Okay, anyway, Kira, so I want to dive in. I mean, I know I kind of already know a bit about your past and your history, but for the podcast listeners or watchers, tell us a little bit about your dance history, how you got into dance, and more just how it has evolved since kind of growing into adulthood and finding Madhouse and sort of what it means to you now that you're doing Madhouse and also performing and auditioning and all of that.
There's so many things going through my brain right now.
Yeah, start anywhere.
Oh my God, I'm going to start rambling.
Well, dance is your life, so I imagine that there's a lot to talk about. But you know what the listeners want to hear.
For the backstory of my dance career, typical competition dancer, conventions, spent 4 or 5 hours a night every weeknight at the studio, didn't have a life in high school except for dance. I had a shirt that says, "Sorry, I can't, I have dance." And the whole studio, we would wear it.
Dang.
And then I went to SDSU for college. I went to SDSU. Oh, I meant for dance for college. Went to SDSU to dance in college. Had my professional dance jobs here and there. But I will say, starting dance as a kid, I used to be so shy. And I took a dance class with my mom when I lived in San Diego as a kid. And I ran out of the room crying my eyes out because I was the most shy person you would have ever met. I cried over meeting any human, and I didn't want to talk to anybody. And I ran out of the room crying. And I never tried it again until we moved back to Pennsylvania. We got a letter in the mail. I was probably like 7 or 8, which is late to start dance.
Yeah.
Usually you start to like 2 or 3. Got a letter in the mail to take a dance class, and it was a hip hop jazz tap combo class. And you like bring all your shoes and you do it all together in an hour. And then I took that class, and then it's been dance ever since. But it took me a while to break out of my shell. So I've evolved a lot because I was so shy, and now I am the opposite of shy, and I yell at people to shake their ass for a living.
I love it. And speaking of like having everything work out, wasn't there another sport that you were doing and then you picked volleyball? You were doing volleyball and then you picked dance.
So briefly. Well, I cheered for a little bit and I did gymnastics. Again, everything was irrelevant compared to the second I started dancing. And then I started dancing, but all my friends were doing things that required balls or like running. So not like male balls, like hitting balls like a basketball or a softball.
She got balls though.
And so I was like, let me try volleyball. So I tried it and I had fun. I enjoyed it with my friends. I think I was in the 3rd or 4th grade. And then practices were the exact same day and night or time and night as dance. And I was like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
I'm going to dance.
Dance is number one.
Yeah. Things that have altered our life course. I think about like there was a second where I was deciding between volleyball and dance. And imagine if I chose volleyball, like
we would not be sitting here.
We would not be sitting here.
It's just crazy.
It's so wild. There was so much more from you asking me that my brain was giving bullet points.
Yeah, no, that's okay. Well, you skipped to SDSU dance.
Okay, and then I started before SDSU. First, I will say I've trained a lot in New York City. I did like Joffrey Ballet School and like Rockette Summer Intensive. Being a Rockette in New York City is always one of my dreams, and dancing on a cruise ship, and being on a professional sports team. So then I came to San Diego. I went to SDSU. Studied dance. I also studied kinesiology and business, and then graduated, went to Europe, got some dance jobs. So I went to Bora Bora to perform, which was never would I have thought that I could ever go to Bora Bora, let alone go there to dance. Like people go there for their honeymoon, not to dance. So that was amazing. I've danced at like local clubs in San Diego and whatnot and bars, and then I got the professional dance contract with Sirens Dance Team for the SEALs, which was awesome. And hopefully the next goal is doing a cruise ship. Where I'd have to leave Madhouse, but
sad.
I'll come back.
You'll always come back.
I will always come back.
I know you'll always come back to me. You have to let the things you love go so that they return to you. No, but that's amazing. Tell me about what has it been like for you transitioning from being a professional dancer, super focused on technique, performance, all of the details, all of the things that have required your decades of background that have got you to where you are in the professional sort of realm, and kind of letting all of that go for Madhouse. Like, what has that been like for you coming into a space like Madhouse where that's not the point of the studio, and rather we just focus on the sort of, freedom of moving and expressing yourself in a way that feels good to you, to the dancers. Yeah.
I literally just got chills by you saying that because it was so easy for me because dance is it's my first love, my greatest passion. I go into a room to dance and it's happy. It's easy for me, even though auditions can be stressful. But like growing up in our studios, oh my God. Well, I'm gonna talk about the twerking Titanics now.
What is that?
So, my studio in Pennsylvania, we were all super close. There was probably like 12 of us who were just attached at the hip my entire childhood. And there was 3 of us specifically. We all just love to shake ass, like in class. And our dance teachers would get so mad at us.
Because that's like not kosher.
No. We'd be like doing pirouettes in the middle or turning or kicking our leg. And then we'll be on the back wall just twerking, like whatever song's on. I remember so clearly. It's one of my favorite memories. We had summer intensive. So you're at the studio like 4 nights a week, like 5 hours. And this is when new students would come to like check out the studio in the summer before you start the fall semester, whatever you want to call it. And there was a bunch of new people here, but there was one new girl in our like jazz technique class, and we all were like whispering around like, hey, we're gonna like twerk on the back wall while the last group is doing like a jazz combo. I forget what it is. Anyway, we all start wall twerking, like feet on the wall, asses out, shaking to some jazz combo. And this girl never came back.
Oh,
she never took class again.
Oh no, the twerking Titanics got her.
And our dance teachers always laugh that we scared her off. But so the twerking Titanics game, there was 2 of us, well, 3 of us, but 2 of them, I was the oldest, and then there was like a medium height and a really short one. And I would be like the bottom twerker, and then there's a photo of us, and she twerked on top of me.
Like standing on
feet,
you?
Yeah, like feet on my thighs. And then the third one was so tiny, she would go feet on the quads, and we'd all be twerking. Obviously only a couple seconds of lasting, but the joke was we're the twerking Titanics because we go down under or something. I don't know. Maybe that sounds kind of sexual then.
I'm sorry. How old are we?
Well, that's a whole other topic you can get into about sexualizing kids at that young of an age. But
Yikes.
us not noticing, and parents are like, what's going on?
I mean, also you guys were twerking of your own accord, I'm sure.
Yeah, but so just a lot of ass shaking. And I've just always loved to twerk and to shake my butt and to do it with my friends. We just had so much fun. So that was always like the lighthearted part of our studio that I loved. And we all got we just were so close. And so now I wish I could tell like 12-year-old me, like, I'll be doing this for a living one day. It's just so refreshing, and it gives so much freedom to think that I'm a full-grown woman and I get to teach people just to have fun and love themselves. And who cares if you're shaking your ass in the mirror? You're like, who cares if you look weird? Like, just have fun and let things move and just touch yourself because it feels good. And so yeah, it's just it was easy for me because I've always loved doing that. We would let loose in our technique classes when we were 14, and then growing all through high school and then college. Like, there's just always the lightheartedness of taking class. Obviously there's stress with auditions, and you know, there's a time and a place when you can shake your ass, but it was never hard for me to just have fun. Just go into a class and teach. And I think another part for me is that I've always had a passion for teaching as well. I mean, I taught kids. I used to be an assistant teacher at a preschool/daycare. I've taught kids how to dance half of my life now. And so I knew I always wanted to teach for the rest of my life, especially once my professional career would stop, hopefully not for a long time, but I knew that would be what would be my end goals, to really teach. So I'm happy that I got to teach at such a young age and find such a good job with such great people and great ownership. Like,
who, me?
Yeah.
No, I love it. Thank you. Honestly, that makes me so happy to hear. And I love what you said about like, if you could tell 11-year-old or younger you, hey, you're going to be doing this for a career when you're older. Like, I think about that all the time. If I could tell my little kindergarten self that was like making up dances and performing it to my parents and like just wanting to be the star of the show all the time, that like, hey, you're going to be basically performing for 24 people multiple times a day, like multiple times a week. You know what I mean? Like, when you're older, you're going to be making up dances for a living. I just like wouldn't even know where to like what to do with that information. First of all, I'd be like, that sounds amazing. But also, like, I would have, if you had told me that I was doing this like 4 years ago, I would have been like, you're crazy. I have no idea what you're talking about. Because I just like had no, dance was not even in my
that's so
horizon.
Wild how far you've come alone. Let's talk about where you started.
I look back at the videos of like the outdoor classes. Oh, triggered. Don't say that. Okay, so a little bit of background about Madhouse is the original name. Stop. Kira. The original name,
jazz hands with it,
is Spirit and Step. Look, we're gonna drop some business advice right now, okay? I am a firm believer that if you can get something 80% of the way, I did not make this up, by the way. I heard this somewhere. I don't remember where I heard it. But if you can do something and get it 80% to where you want it, you got to just roll with it and you got to go because it's ready. It's never going to be 100% ready. And so when I was creating Madhouse, I had a name at the time. And look, I think most of me knew this was not going to be the name. It never felt that right. But it was the best one I had at the time. Spirit and Step LLC. Actually, it's still on the business credit card to this day. And yeah, not my favorite thing to look at, but it's okay. Honestly, it's a funny story now.
You've come such a long way.
I think to me at the time, before Madhouse was in my mind, Spirit and Step came to me because it was just, the movement was all about raising your spirits, lifting your spirits, just like feeling free, boosting your mood, all of that. And the step just came because step, like dance steps. And I liked the alliteration. And I think I was like listening to a business podcast and like there was a similar company that, not a similar company, a random company that had like a 2-word with an and in between. And I was like, oh, I like the sound of that. So Spirit and Step, I cringe at now, but I will always be grateful for it because it got me moving, and if I had waited until I found the absolute perfect name, Madhouse wouldn't exist. You know what I mean? I had to start. I had to get it going. I had to get the actual studio space. And once I saw our first studio space, like what we have today with the roll down garage and like all of that, it gave me very like industrial warehouse vibes, which is how I got to the house. Like I was thinking like dance house or whatever. And then dance house is like done. Like there's a million dance houses out there. And then I started thinking about like, okay, what's really like the mood that we want to convey here? And to me, it was just like craziness, madness, like all of that. And I was like, Madhouse, bing, bang, bop, perfect. That's the one. And I still have the piece of paper to this day that I wrote on that was like all caps, like Madhouse ? The day that I like.
Where is that? I want to frame it.
I want to frame it too.
That needs to go in your office.
Yeah, you're right. I think it's at my mom's house. I'll have to get it because I was living with her at the time.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It's been quite the journey there. But anyway, back to old Spirit and Step days. I was doing those outdoor classes and I had never taught those classes before in my life. So just to give listeners like a background on me, I have no dance experience other than Madhouse. Sorry, Kira, you know all of this, but I'm just going to
give it to me. I just gave you my background that you already know.
No dance experience other than Madhouse. I just have always loved dancing more than anything and spent most of my adult and teenage years without it. I really only danced when I was a little kid and dropped it and then never felt like I could get back into it because I lacked that sort of foundation. Like how you were saying you got into it when you were 7 and 8, which is like late to the game, right? Like
you were real late.
I was real late. There's no shot there. So I never once thought about dance being a career, even though I love doing it. I didn't even do it as a hobby, like because I was too scared to go into dance studios, which is how the idea was born to create Madhouse because I felt like there needed to be.
How did you even feel ready? I guess that's not the right word because you probably didn't feel ready, but the fact that you jumped into teaching an outside class after not having experience blows my mind. Like nobody would ever think that they could do that, and you did it.
I cannot explain what gave me the audacity. I think it was just truly like I just knew that as soon as I had the idea for Madhouse, I was like, this is my life's purpose. Like there was nothing I've been, it sounds so like cheesy, but like
makes me so happy.
Everything clicked so instantaneously when I had the idea. And like, I told everyone I knew about it. I was like, this is what I'm going to do. And I was just determined to do it no matter what it took. And I think that I had really like, I think part of my process in like being comfortable taking a big step like that, even though, again, looking back, like I wasn't at the point where I'm at now, but you have to start somewhere. I was listening to so many business podcasts about founders and business leaders that are where they are today and had absolutely no idea what they were doing at the beginning. And I think the beauty in listening to podcasts like that and like learning from people that are in really cool positions now and hearing about their past and where they were at is that it kind of expands your own like beliefs about what you can do, because you hear about them and like relate to them in certain ways, like, oh, I have a similar background as that, or whatever it is. Like you can connect on different levels with different people that you learn about or listen to. And when you can like relate to someone like that and see yourself in them a little bit and see like, oh, they also didn't know how to do that and they figured it out along the way. And that's been the biggest, like you can probably relate to, like the biggest thing about becoming an adult and like growing and just like working on career and just life in general is like realizing that nobody knows what they're doing at any point and everyone's just making shit up as they go. Like that was, when I had that realization, I was like, oh, I can start a company. Anyone can start a company. They can start a company. I can start a company. Like you just realize that these people that you idolize and look up to, they're just people, you know? And so to go back and answer your original question, like, I just was like, someone's got to do it. It's going to be me. I also think I just knew that my idea was going to be, like, I knew that that was a good idea. And I knew that nobody was really doing it yet. And I would have been so mad at myself if I didn't do it and if I had let it go and didn't pursue it. Like, because even if there was no question that I was going to do it, because even if I had done it and failed, I would have been happy with that. Yeah, like I would have been like, I tried it. It didn't work out the way I wanted. But if I had just not tried it out of fear of like failure or just like let it get to me that, yeah, I don't have any teaching experience. Who am I to start a dance studio? If I had like let that get to me, I feel like if I have never taught before, I can't go there, then Madhouse would have never happened. None of it would have ever happened. And I would have regretted that for the rest of my life, you know? But yeah, so just jumped in. Actually, we did start the outdoor classes during COVID, which was a super, like a blessing in disguise, I guess. Obviously, like COVID was horrible for so many reasons. But one thing, like when people hear that I started the business during COVID, they're like, oh my God, that must have been like so challenging, and definitely would have been super challenging if we had started like right before COVID hit. Like, you know, you hear about so many businesses that opened up in January of 2020 and like that would be worst case. Sign a lease in January of 2020. That's just like the most unfortunate timing. But I had the idea in January of 2020. COVID happened in March. I hadn't acted on it yet. I was still living in LA. So I spent the first few months of the pandemic just like kind of honing in on like how to even teach this type of class, watching videos, learning from dance fitness instructors that have stuff up on YouTube, taking the classes myself on YouTube just to be like, okay, just starting to get a feel for like what
you liked and didn't like.
Yeah, like just like exactly what do I like about this? What do I dislike about this? How do I want to make it my own? How do I want to add my own style to it? And basically just getting to the level where I'm like, okay, now I can start choreographing my own pieces and my own sort of format. And also got a Zumba certification before COVID as well. Did you know that?
I don't think I knew that.
Yeah, I never taught Zumba once, but it was the only type of dance fitness I knew.
What did you have to do to...
It was just a one-day workshop, like all day. I went to this place. I don't even remember where it was, but
I think I knew that.
I think it was in Orange County or something. I don't remember where it was. But yeah, it was just one full day of like just learning the Zumba format basically. And yeah, I never once taught Zumba because again, COVID happened right after that. Yeah. But just more experience and more just like learning about dance fitness. And then at the end of 2020 in November, that was when I wanted to do the outdoor classes totally for free at first for the rest of the year from November through like, I think January, or no, maybe it was October, whatever, November through January, just free classes, exchanging basically the free class for feedback. Like I would give, I think I still have these somewhere too, like little surveys that I would hand out at the end and be like, what did you like about this? Any feedback, you know, just to get feedback, which was really hard for me because feedback I'm just super perfectionist.
I was just gonna say that's very brave of you to do that, knowing your background and being like, I've never done this before.
You knowing that I'm a perfectionist.
Well, yeah, you being a perfectionist and you never dancing and you going in and asking for people to judge you.
Yeah.
That's a lot coming from you.
I know, it was really scary, and that has been huge developmentally for me. Like just being able to accept feedback, and also now years into this process of running a business, being able to kind of discern which feedback I want to take and run with as well. You know, like some of it is super constructive and super helpful. Yeah. Some of it is a little bit more like, okay, you might be kind of projecting something that you're going through onto like me or my dance studio, and that's okay, but I'm just going to like take that feedback and put it over here to the side. But no, that's been a great journey. But that was super instrumental in like narrowing down like, okay, they didn't like this one as much because it was a little too slow or whatever it was, and just like getting that format. And then once I felt like I had like a format I was confident in, I was like, all right, time to start making people pay money for this.
Well, talking about this format, I think it's great to talk about where the studio started, who the instructors were, what we used to teach, and Red Room coming about, and now the group of people that we have and how much it has transformed and transpired from May 2021.
Oh wow, it has been a wild journey and lots of changes have been made. But I also think it's so beautiful how organically all of it happened, because Madhouse just took on a life of its own at that point. Red Room took on a life of its own. So the transition from outdoor into the indoor space, once outdoor started to pick up, I was like, okay, this is awesome, but I'm working really hard at something that is not my vision, right? Like from the moment I had the idea in January of 2020, I pictured the Madhouse studio as you see it now. Nightclub environment, like pretty much literally exactly how you see it now was like the vision that I had in my head. I have like a vision board of it somewhere still. And I brought it to life, which is beautiful. So having those outdoor classes, I knew that I needed to transition to an indoor space, found the right space, which is awesome. Definitely that was a tough transition too. I was actually just talking to Marcy about this today. Like change is something that is so important and needs to be like celebrated and accepted, but it also comes with some challenges of like people not liking a change or, you know, people being resistant to the change. Like when I went from outdoor to indoor, I had so many people tell me like, but I love the outdoor classes. I want to dance like, you know, by the ocean. I don't want to be in a studio. And I had to just be like, that's just not the vision. Like, I'm sorry, you know, it's just not, but it's so easy to have that doubt, like kind of plant a seed in you and be like, what if exactly. What if it fails? What if people don't want it? Like anything like that. And ultimately you just have to follow your gut and intuition. And so got the indoor space. Like I said, found the name Madhouse when we saw that space, and started hiring for instructors. At that point had absolutely no idea what I was doing.
You hired a lot of instructors.
I hired 12 instructors right off the bat. And just to give you guys an idea, right now,
I was one of them, though, I would like to say.
Kira is one, and she is the OG longest standing instructor, which is crazy. No, we got so many good instructors in that first like initial hiring phase. A lot of them have since like moved or left for different reasons, but yeah, you're the longest standing, which is so cool. Take a bow, baby. Yeah, you like heard that I was starting a dance studio, or maybe I told you at the restaurant and you were like, I want to be involved.
I remember I was so nervous. Mariah, people who don't know, Mariah's our friend from, you guys actually went to high school together, I think. But she also worked at True Food. And so that I was close with Mariah, and Mariah was close to Olivia. And I took Olivia's outdoor class, I think once, because you said you were hiring people. And then I came into work and I was so nervous. I was like, oh, what if she tells me no?
You're so funny. Like I would never, first of all, at that point, anyone that wanted to work with me, I was like honored, truly. Okay. And it was an honor, all the people that wanted to work with me, honestly. Like, but I just like had no idea what I was doing. I didn't have much confidence in my own format. I didn't know what Madhouse was going to turn into. So yeah, but no, I would of course say yes to you. Are you kidding me?
Like we didn't know each other that well, and I came and asked you, and then we decided on me taking your class, or I don't know, Mariah told me to take your class. I forget. Yeah. I took your class though. I'm nervous to go there just because I think I was just nervous to be around you, because I think deep down I like knew that we were going to end up at some point being close or like having a great relationship. Aww. And so in the moment I was like, oh my God, I'm nervous. Like what am I end up being good? And then I took your class and I loved it. And Mariah was around filming everything. Yeah. And I was just like nervous for the camera. And then I went, like I said, thank you to you afterwards. And then I came in for an audition. I couldn't even remember, like, I think I had to give you like 2 dances. Yeah. And that's like, another, the auditions were like 2 dances. And I was like on the spot, like, yes, you're hired. Pretty much to anyone. And I walked into that audition shitting bricks. I was so nervous. Didn't you do like Work Bitch by Britney Spears? I feel like I still remember that. And I still do that one. And you still have that. Honestly, that's some good choreo right there. That's one of my only choreo songs from the beginning that I have not changed the choreo. Like, I just love that one.
I want to do that one soon. I love it.
But I was so nervous for that, and then you were like, great, you're hired. And I was like, really? I'm shaking. Then I gave you a hug, and the rest is history.
And the rest is history. And look where we are now. First Madwoman podcast ever.
Oh my God, wow.
Yeah. Well, so as soon as we had those, okay, so we started hiring. We had those 4 closed off walls now, as opposed to being outdoor in a park where like shaking ass is not really on the menu there because you're in public, and I'm not trying to get kicked out of the park that I'm not paying to be at. Like, I was, first of all, already nervous that I was like not supposed to be doing what I was doing there, which I probably wasn't, but I just feel like
you didn't like have a permit or anything to do that.
No, but I feel like during COVID, so many businesses were kind of like doing outdoor stuff. So I don't think, but I knew it wasn't sustainable, which is again why I wanted to do the studio and have like our own space that we could control the elements, if you will. Yeah, so as soon as those, like, it was a little more private, right? I was like, I kind of feel like I want to do like an explicit class. Like, I love explicit music. I love shaking my ass. I love like twerking and just feeling, I feel like I've always just been a super sensual, sexual being, and dance has been the only way to really like express that in like a way that feels authentic to me personally. And yeah, like such a beautiful way to express it too, because it's healthy and it's creative and it's flowing, and it just beautiful. Like it makes like it just transforms your physical and mental health. And like something about, you know, going out to a club that's like playing like all this nasty music, like I love that shit. I love that shit. And I was like, but I don't want to go to a club every night. How can I get that like feeling that I get from being out at a bar or club and dancing and feeling like super sexy in a more controlled and safe environment where I don't have to like go and drink or be groped or whatever like that. And I feel like Madhouse was just the answer. And I had no idea if other people were going to be on board. Like, I feel like it's just super taboo. I think it's a lot more widely accepted now, like 2 years into this journey. And I think you're seeing more and more content on social media of like heels classes and stuff like that. But I felt like at the time I wasn't really seeing much about it. Well, especially like what we do, Red Room Dance Cardio, that was not around at all. It still isn't. Madhouse is still like the only place that does Red Room Dance Cardio from what I know. Definitely like sexy dance classes, heels classes have been around. But I was like, I don't know if this is something like, this has never been proven before, right? Like I'm just gonna see if other people also feel the way that I feel and want to express this part of themselves in a way that also gives them a good workout and feels like a dance party and is a super uplifting environment. And we can do that now because there's no windows and we've got blackout curtains and no creepers walking by the park like chatting us up as we're dancing. And and so I put on the first Red Room. I taught the first Red Room class on Saturday, May 8th, I think it was. I don't really remember, at 8 a.m. on a Saturday. 8th? Yeah, I think so.
Like a whole year after we opened?
No, 2021. The first one.
Didn't we open the studio? That's incorrect.
No, May 8th, 2021.
Didn't the studio open like May 2nd of 2021?
I don't think so.
It did. It did. I did.
Really?
The studio opened May.
Okay, whatever.
Because I went
to
Hawaii.
All this out. Cut all this out.
I went to Hawaii the first weekend of May, like May 8th to the 10th or something, and I either missed the first day or I like missed the first week of opening.
You went 8th to the 10th.
I don't know, sometime.
Yeah, I think you went like you missed the opening.
Yeah, but Red Room wasn't.
It was
the very first week that we opened.
Yeah, the very first class, 8 a.m.
was a Red Room Dance Cardio.
Was me teaching Red Room Dance Cardio. You think I'm wrong?
Yes.
We can go back and check the motherfucking records.
In my brain, Red Room didn't become a thing until like a couple months into me teaching. Like, how did it go from... I'm so confused right now.
Okay, so Red Room started developing as I was hiring people. I don't know, maybe you weren't teaching Red Room yet. You might have started with Just Dance Cardio. I think I was the first Red Room teacher, and I don't think I had. I didn't have.
You had Like the burlesque one?
Yeah, we had a few different like classes going on at the beginning. We had like Latin dance cardio. We had like Bollywood fusion dance cardio. We had burlesque. There was a lot of stuff happening. And I very quickly realized after the first week that like I went balls to the wall for the launch, and I had to slim that down real quick. I was like, dance cardio, Red Room dance cardio, and that's it. Just to kind of start smaller and then slowly grow from there. Pretty much the amount of classes that I launched with is the amount of classes that we have now. 2 years working up to it. So
that was, I even remember when you did that, Gio and I were at True Food and we were like, isn't this a lot of instructors?
Look, I was just doing what I thought I had to do at the time. You're right. Wish you would have told me.
I was scared.
No, that's fine. I mean, yeah, I realized very quickly that just had to reel it in a little bit. But yeah, so Red Room started with me. I think the very first class on opening day, I taught an 8 a.m. bright and early Red Room class.
Shorts?
In my little fire shorts. Yep, exactly. And I mean, people liked it. And then from there started to really, I put a few more on the schedule, started having other instructors start to teach it. Just working in the floor work element, the more explicit music element, lots of twerking, lots of just like that sensual movement that we do. And started to pretty quickly see that those were the ones that were booking up the fastest and the soonest. And that just took on a life. I feel like people were coming for Red Room, and they still do come for Red Room. And now almost all of our classes, except for like one class a day, are all Red Room classes. Yeah. The spicy classes, because that's just what Madhouse turned into. Like it went from, for me, it started as a way to dance and get a really good workout in and feel good about yourself and not worry about like getting moves right. Like just purely about workout, dance party, have fun. And then once Red Room took off and that started to become the driving force behind the studio's growth and also the driving force behind my love for the studio, like that started to be why I felt like what we were doing was so important, because you saw women come in and leave feeling so empowered. You can see it on their face, and they tell you too. Yeah. They tell you like, this was so fun. I've never moved like that in my life, or I've never like
experienced a feeling that they feel in that room.
Exactly. Like that is the best feedback to receive as an instructor. And like basically just turning Madhouse into a studio for women's empowerment was the most organic, and it just made so much sense. It made so much sense. And now that is like why we do what we do.
It really fell into place.
Yeah.
So naturally.
And why we love doing what we do.
Yeah.
I love it. What has it been like for you, like as clients come up to you and give you that sort of feedback, or like talking about what the class means to them? And I know you were talking earlier about sort of the generational divide that you witness as well, and the sort of taboo that happens with maybe older generations, or honestly I feel like younger people too, like just depending on your background, you know?
Yeah, even like religion too. I mean, there's so many things.
Oh, we could dive deep into that. I don't know if we have time today, but
there's so many things to talk about. First things first, when people come up to me and tell me how much they loved it and the energy they had and how much fun they had with me and yada yada, that is an indescribable feeling. And I think it goes back to me being a kid and me loved shaking my ass with my friends, and the fact that I get to do that and I get to share that love and my greatest love of dance with other people, and then they come up to me and tell me how amazing I am and how amazing Madhouse is and how amazing the energy is, and they just ramble and ramble. I could cry happy tears every single time someone tells me that. There is no feeling that could explain what I feel in that moment, and just how amazing I feel when I'm in Madhouse as well. Like I'm right there with them with how amazing it is. And I leave a class after teaching and I feel amazing, just as amazing as they do. And I get so excited to think, especially new people who come in, then it goes into like age gaps too. When I love when middle-aged women come up after taking my class and they're like, I've never been able to be like that in my entire life, and that was so beautiful that I got to experience that. And I'm like, yes, like we need that. Women, our whole lives, it's like taboo. You can also get into like men versus women or boys growing up. It's way more normal for them to get into sexual things than it is for girls do. And then we grow up and it's just very taboo of women getting bossed around in the bedroom or only being able to feel sexual in the bedroom. And then you go take a class and you're just surrounded by a bunch of women who are sexual and are loving themselves and supporting each other and empowering each other, and you don't get that feeling anywhere else ever. And when middle-aged women come and they say, oh my God, I've never felt like this, and like I've been missing this my whole life and I can't believe I finally get to experience it. And then there's people who are a little younger or around my age and they're like, yes, like let's do it, like we're so ready. And then they're bringing everybody on board, and it's just I could just ramble about this for so long.
Well, there's a lot there to unpack. Like
there's
that's
so much.
Huge. But I think I agree. Like giving someone the gift of experiencing their sexuality through themselves and only themselves is like the biggest gift that you can give someone.
That just gave me the chills. Oh my God.
Because I feel like, first of all, yes, there's just so much shame around women's sexuality that I've had to deal with. I'm sure you've had to deal with. We all have to deal with. And being able to let that go in a safe space. Well, first of all, you can see it on some people's faces that it's a pretty unique experience, and
it can be very intimidating.
It can be very intimidating, and it can make people uncomfortable. Like some people aren't ready for it. It's not for everyone, and that's totally fair. But when you see or hear from someone that's like, that is the outlet that I've been needing, it is like truly the most impactful words to hear back. And every time I'm feeling tired or burnt out or anything like that, and someone gives me that feedback of like, this has literally changed my life, like you don't understand where I was 3 months ago and where I'm at today after like being here and taking your class, like that is insane to me. There's no words to describe it. It's like literally the coolest thing ever. And I think it's so important because especially with all the shame around sexuality and exploring your sexuality as a woman, a lot of the time, the only opportunity people get to do that, like you were saying, is like in the bedroom with a man traditionally or whatever. And I think what I really want people to understand and grasp and like work for is that your sexuality is yours, only yours, is within you. And if you want to share it with someone else, that's amazing. Yeah. However you want to share it with whoever you want to share it, that's your business. That is your prerogative. That is your prerogative. Thank you. That's the word I was looking for. But it's yours, and you have the full power to express it in whatever way you want. And there's so much beauty in doing it, and there shouldn't be shame around it, and there shouldn't be negative feelings about looking at yourself in a mirror and touching your body in the mirror and feeling yourself and feeling confident and telling yourself you're beautiful and hot and sexy and a goddess. Like there's so much like rhetoric out there that you are vain or you're like just stuck up or you're obsessed with yourself or whatever, and it's like, okay, there's a time and place. Like I'm not going to look at myself in every reflection and be like, I'm hot in front of like a room full of people I don't know, right? But like, especially in Madhouse where that's what we want you to do there, I think it's just giving someone the space and the permission to do it that is really life-changing. And I like to tell people too, go home and look at yourself in your own mirror and say these things to yourself too, because that's life-changing as well.
I also think it's so like, this is the only body we're going to get. This is the only face I'm going to get unless I want to spend money on things to fix, but like I don't care to do that. And so like, why am I not gonna love myself and tell myself I'm pretty, tell myself that I look good when I'm dancing or whatever the case may be? And it's so irritating. Oh my God, there's so many things like going through my brain. It's going a million miles an hour.
Tell us them.
Oh, but I had like bullet points every time you were talking. Talking about taboo and dancing sexually or shaking my booty or like being in the space with like videos on YouTube, that's what I'm going to say, videos that we post in Madhouse on YouTube.
That's okay.
And
madhousemovement.com.
Nice. And like everybody gets feedback here and there of like people being like, oh my God, like what is this? Like that, like judging you and yada yada. And it's just so irritating and upsetting. It's like, it's beautiful what we are doing. And I, like you said, I feel I've also always been a sensual and sexual person, grew up in the dance world, always been shaking my ass. Like I've always felt like that and never really knew how to express it. And then I found Madhouse, and it's so beautiful, and I feel it so deep inside me every time I walk in a Madhouse and when I teach, and I feel so good. Like I'm never going to leave that feeling. And it's so irritating when people, you can just see them judging you, or which, like, yeah, whatever, do what you want. Yeah, it's not going to really affect me, but it's like, have an open mind. Like if you felt the way we were feeling, like if you had the balls to try this, then you would understand why I feel like this. Or even men specifically judging women who do this, or women identifying, whatever the case may be. That's also a whole other thing, because the way you've grown up and the life that you've lived is so different from women and what we go through. So now we get to go in a room. It's like the whole Barbie movie and all these.
Oh, I haven't seen it yet. I know. I need to.
Oh my God. It's just a whole world of Barbies, and the Kens are just like irrelevant. They're like the little toys. And that's just how like women are.
That's just Madhouse.
Exactly. We're all the Barbies, and we're just living our best life, and it's amazing, and it just feels so good. Oh, everyone should come to Madhouse. You need to
nice little plug there. Yeah, no, 100%, absolutely. And that's also an example of when it's more about, you know, how we were talking about feedback, when people are projecting. Like it's when someone is so resistant to what we do, you know that that's coming from their own place and their own like repression or whatever it is. And
insecurities.
You know, but there are a lot of people that probably don't judge us, and it's also just not their thing, which I'm like, I have so much respect for. Okay. That's totally fine. It's like, just don't. I think for me, the first time I feel like I really witnessed and experienced like the pushback and the misogynistic sort of pushback was when we started going viral on TikTok, and like having our videos be blasted out to millions of people all of a sudden at once. That because for so long, just on Instagram and in our small little San Diego community and all of that, it's just nothing but support for pretty much a year and a half, just like support. And, you know, maybe certain people were getting like feedback, like, you know, we have one of our friends, Kelly, who also works at the studio, is from a very religious background, and she has had a lot of people like reach out to her like, what are you doing? Like, what's going on? So I don't have that personal experience. I don't have like a religious upbringing. I don't have people in my circle or my life that would say things like that to me. So for so long, it was nothing but just like, awesome, great, you know? And then once millions of people all of a sudden are seeing these videos, you really realize how certain places that you're not from, or people that you're not regularly exposed to, just aren't there yet, just aren't where you are yet, and aren't ready to accept women embracing their sexuality. And it's so evident in the comments that are like, you guys dance like that because you don't have dads. And it's like, literally no words to respond. I mean, I literally just don't respond to comments. Also, you do the TikTok now because my mental health cannot handle it. I hope you don't look at the comments. Now,
when I get a bad one, I'll delete it, because it's just like, you are sitting behind a screen wasting your time commenting something mean. Like, get on with your life.
Yeah, totally, absolutely, and exactly. It's just a reflection of them.
It's like one bad mean comment to hundreds of comments of usually women like, oh my God, I wish I had this in my area. Like, oh my God, I wish I had an outlet like this. Yada yada yada. So I'm like, whatever. But
I think because it's so close to my heart, like the studio, it's like, it feels like my baby. And when I have like one negative comment like that, like, so it's the classic, like it's the only one you can think of.
And that also goes into your whole perfectionism.
Yeah, but we're working on
it. I mean, I feel like most dancers are perfectionists, and I feel like you would not think of it. Like, I used to be a very big perfectionist growing up as a competitive dancer, and now I feel like I've leaned back a little bit on it. So you're like newly into the dance world, and you're like,
yeah. Well, it's also just my whole life. There's everything I do. Like, yeah. Anyway, we don't need to dive into my perfectionism right now. Just final thoughts on this whole conversation about like accepting what we do and it being taboo. Yeah, the TikTok experience was really unique, but it really like sort of fired me up and reactivated my passion in a way that it hadn't been activated like that yet, because I felt a whole new sense of purpose of there are more women out there that need this, and I need to put this online for these women that are commenting these amazing things while these haters are also commenting these horrible things. But the world needs more of this, and it needs to be out there more so that it becomes more a part of the mainstream conversation and becomes more widely available to people that need it. Because I really believe that it's like physical and mental health. And
100%.
It's a form of expression that needs to be readily available to people. Because like me, I did not have dance. When I found dance, it transformed my life. It transformed my physical health. It transformed my mental health. Nothing else did that for me. Nothing else, not yoga, not running, not the gym, not cycling. I couldn't keep up with anything else. Dance to me has just always been the truest form of expressing myself and feeling like the most authentic version of myself. And being able to do it every day has literally been life-changing. And not everyone needs that. Again, it's not for everyone, but there are so many people that don't have access to it right now, or that don't feel like they can do it, that need to do it. And I think that the more we put out there and the more hate we get, also the more love we get. And it's just like a really important purpose and conversation that we need to keep up and keep doing.
Yes. When you were talking about how dance has always been your outlet, so clearly I remember, okay, like I said, I grew up always dancing, spending all my hours. I was always so happy. And then I went to college. Already, college dance world versus competitive dance world, very, very different. And I'm not dancing as much as I want to be dancing. So the first couple years that I moved back to San Diego, I was a little sad because I just wasn't dancing, and dancing is what gives me so much joy. And I also knew that I loved teaching, like I've said. So I became a bar instructor, and I probably taught bar for like a year, and it just wasn't feeding me the way that I needed to. It like helped a little bit, like it filled some sort of void, but not the way dance does. And then I found you, and I found Madhouse, and I started working there. And then every time I went to teach bar, I was like so anxious, and it was like everything inside of me, like physical, mental, everything was telling me to stop doing this. And then I quit, and then I just leaned into Madhouse, and I was happier than I've ever been. Like, and dance just changes you, and the way I feel when I dance, it's so different. And like, you try to do other outlets, but when dance really is your passion, there's nothing that compares to it. If I didn't have dance, I would be not who I am. I'd be one sad individual.
Well, I think it's also beautiful that you still have such a vibrant passion for it, because, you know, I didn't grow up doing it 4 to 5 hours every single night when I was a kid. And I think it's really telling that even after going through all of that, what a lot of people would consider a crazy amount of work and dedication, and what would burn a lot of people out, you still are just as passionate about it as you always have been, which is really wonderful.
And that's how I know that, like, there's no words to describe it. Like, I wake up and I'm just like, I have to dance. There's no other path that my life could go on except to dance.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That's it.
Yeah, because when I was doing high school sports, like running on the cross country and track team, I burned out really quick, and the stress got to me, and it was like not something I actually enjoyed doing. And so you just know that that's not the right path. That happens
with dancers too. I mean, growing up, there's people who quit, people who didn't make it past the dance major, and it never even crossed my brain. I knew it was always the answer.
This is me.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
This is me. This is me. I'm exactly who I'm supposed to be.
This is why I love you. No, but dance has, I mean, obviously I don't have the same background, and I wasn't doing it, but since I was probably 3 years old, my mom tells me that when I would be in the dressing room, like trying on back to school clothes or whatever, she would buy the outfit. She would know that I actually liked the outfit when I started dancing in the dressing room, like in little mirror as a little kid. I would just like start dancing.
Adorable.
And I still do it to this day, by the way. I realize, no, seriously, when I put on, I do it without even realizing it. I start dancing in the mirror, and I'm like, oh, this is the one I should wear tonight. I don't even realize I'm doing it until I start doing it. It is just so like how I express happiness and how I express just myself. Like, that's when I know that I feel like myself. You know, when you put on an outfit and you're like, this isn't me. But if I put on an outfit and I'm like, this is me.
You know, it's funny. I do
this
that.
This is me.
I do that when I eat. Like, I know that I like my food because I start dancing.
Same. And by the way, okay, so if you're listening or watching at home, are you this kind of person? Do you start dancing when you're happy? Because if you do, you might need some Madhouse. Honestly, if you use dance as a way to express happiness or emotion, that is kind of a telling sign that dance could be something that would really benefit you if you don't do it at all. Because I feel like in that raw emotion of like having just like the dankest meal in front of you, and you're like, that is a true expression of joy. And if you're expressing your joy through dance, you should dance more.
Yes.
And also on the flip side, I also have danced through emotions and pain and been that dramatic ass bitch that's just playing a sad song in my kitchen, twirling even though I don't know how to twirl, trying to do a contemporary dance even though I have no clue how to dance in a contemporary style and don't have any experience like that. It makes me feel better. It's therapeutic. Working through emotions, if you work through emotions through dance, you should come to Madhouse.
I have videos of me.
I thought you were going to say of me. I was like, what videos?
No.
Okay.
Talking about dancing through your emotions, right the week before COVID hit, me and my boyfriend broke up, and irrelevant now, but I have videos of me going into the SUSU campus when it's like a dead zone, like it's COVID, no one like wants to be around anybody, no one's out there, and I'm just dramatically dancing to somber music, and I'm just like reaching for my phone and like throwing my leg up, and it's so funny. No one's around me, and I'm like dressed in black, just getting my heart break out. Yeah, of course it did.
Of course it helped.
Of course it did.
Absolutely. No, it's like so
Dance
useful.
is
It's a
therapy.
tool. It's a therapeutic tool, not to be replaced by actual therapy if you need it. Disclaimer. But it's a huge, huge help. Like going through my recent breakup too. Like I had to teach the day that I got broken up with, basically. And I was terrified because I was like, I have to go put on a show for 24 people.
Dancers are good at that.
Yes, but I'm not even gonna lie to you when I say as soon as I started dancing that day, I wasn't putting on a show. Like as soon as the music came on, I was instantly snapped into the present moment, wasn't thinking about anything else, was genuinely having a great time, and it made me feel so much better
beautiful.
after. And as soon as after the class was done and I realized how much better I felt after that class was done, I was like, oh, I can get through this because I know that I have dance as a tool. Yeah, it was like, and I've never been through, you know, a heartbreak or anything like that. So I hadn't, since starting Madhouse and since getting back into dance, I hadn't been through anything that was truly like, felt like sort of like losing something or like kind of like feeling like at a rock bottom or anything like that. And so this was the first instance where people had been coming up to me for 2 years talking about how Madhouse helped them get through something, or my class helped them, you know, get over an abusive relationship, or helped them, you know, work through this loss, that whatever it is that it was helping them get through. I was like, that is so beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. But not with going through that experience myself. And now that I've been through something, exactly. Like I'm like, thank you for sharing that. That's incredible. I'm so happy that Matt, but without the perspective of also going through something and having my classes literally heal me was like insane to experience on that side of it. I had never experienced it like that before. So yeah, as soon as I taught that first class that first day, obviously I was still sad after, but
it changes you though. It helps.
It helped me like escape for an hour, but not even escape because I feel like I was more present. Like I was just like in the moment thinking about nothing other than what I was doing, teaching and like leading this group of women, right? That was so freeing to know that I have dance and always will have dance, and whatever I go through, it will be there to help me through it. Mm-hmm. And maybe I'll find a deserted college campus and start twirling out there. No, we're good now. We're good now.
We'll go together.
Yeah.
We'll do a duet.
You got to teach me your ways.
Gladly. Let's do some lifts.
Can we find a fountain to splash in?
Of course. We'll jump into it. Water goes everywhere.
That sounds perfect. Well, I feel like that's a good spot to end on. Do you have any closing thoughts?
I don't think so.
Thank you for doing this with me. This was really fun. Thank you for listening. If you've made it this far, you a real one. You a real mad woman.
Woo, woo.
Yeah, we're just going to keep kind of putting this stuff out there and seeing what happens. I feel like there are a lot of really important conversations to be had. Mm-hmm. I think today we just kind of did general background on us and Madhouse and sort of big picture stuff, but
there's a lot that we could dive into.
There's a lot that we could dive pretty deep into. A lot of really interesting topics and conversations that I think could benefit a lot of people. So I'm looking forward to it.
You're so cute.
Oh, that's the first words you ever said to me. Say them again.
You're so cute.
You're so cute. Okay, sorry. That's really disgusting and cringy. Thanks, guys.
Bye, guys.
Post me a pic, finna make me a profit. When the liquor hit, then the get toxic.